One of the states that's going to be very important is Pennsylvania. It's a big Senate race there. I watched a debate recently where the Democrat candidate, John Fetterman, is recovering from a stroke. He really, really struggled. And if you haven't seen it, have a look at this and then we'll have a chat about it.
I do support fracking, and I support fracking, and I do support fracking.
Now, Kosher, this is my segue into the media coverage here. For a long time, the media were saying that Fetterman was perfectly fine, everything was healthy. Then, when he went into this debate, he was clearly not at his best and struggled enormously. They said it was ableist to be criticising him and we should be praising him for his recovery from and not being able to converse. That's the flipperoo that happens in the media over there because they're cheering on a side, don't you think?
Media are masters at recasting narratives and linguistics for sure, but I don't think it's working. So something like 60% of Pennsylvanians have seen that clip, and what's fascinating is that clip and other clips too from that debate have actually broken out of political watchers and people like you and I that are in the weeds with this stuff, and people I know who don't cover politics or think about politics at all have all seen this, including from non-English speaking countries and everywhere else. So I think it symbolizes something even bigger than this election, and that is how flawed the system has become right now in America and frankly in Australia and other countries too, where the system is elevating the least capable people. This is a country still that has a lot of very smart people, including in the Democrats, or many handy opponents that could have taken that position. And whether you look at this situation or you look at President Biden, Kamala Harris, all of them, clearly the system is not elevating the smartest people or the most capable people in the country. And I think that's really problematic. The electorate sees it. And I would be very surprised if he's able to pull out a win after that.
Yeah, you're quite right. As you to use the phrase that we are in the weeds with this stuff, and you have to ask yourself, why would anyone want to subject themselves to the rigours of politics? Because it is a swamp, it's full of weeds, it's character assassination. It's no longer about, or seems no longer to be about, doing the best for your country. If you had to sum this up, Kosher, what do you think the outcome of the midterms are going to be? Because it will affect Biden's ability to be president. It will change the majority that they have in the House potentially, and maybe even in the Senate. What do you think will happen?
Huge $1 million question. And you're right, that back to that pendulum effect, since both visions that are being offered are so different and so highly contrasting. This was not the case a generation ago. You're looking at a very different country with one outcome versus the other. And if you believe the indicators, and that is a big if, because we've seen this movie before, it is really showing a blowout in favor of Republicans, and specifically the populist wing. They're called the economic nationalists, the Trump-backed candidates, the MAGA Republicans. There's a whole sort of labels that people put on them. But that wing is doing two things. They're one, sort of launching a hostile takeover of the Republican Party because they do not have the support of the establishment, and yet those candidates are all ascendant. And the second thing they're doing is really driving the enthusiasm, the expected turnout. Early voting is underway in many states, and all of it is pointing to a Republican blowout. Another indicator that's very interesting is money, because you can't trust the polls. But that's an interesting thing to watch, is where both sides are spending money. And here's something, Cory, I haven't seen in 40 years of following this, or reading about it, I should say, is that Democrats are now spending money in very deep blue states like Illinois, like New York, like Oregon, that Biden took by 20 to 30 points. They're spending money advertising there, which tells you that they're on the back foot. So I think the Republicans take the House and even the Senate, but I'll put a big caveat out there that we've seen similar indicators last time, and it didn't quite go the way people expected. So don't be complacent.
All right, Kosher, onto another subject. I've been cheering today because Elon Musk has taken over Twitter. The purchase has gone through. Key staff have already been tossed out. I'm on Twitter because I think it's been a great platform. Elon Musk now says that he wants it to be a clean, vibrant, free speech environment. Do you think he's going to be able to deliver?
This is actually, I think, probably the October surprise that they talk about, with the election, because it's a big deal. And even though the platform is not even one of the major 4 to 5 ones within the big tech sector, and it's been languishing, and he's basically paying $44 billion for something that's worth about $10 billion. So you put all of that aside from an economic perspective, why he's doing this and why it matters is for what you're talking about, that it's something bigger than economics and the business model, and it's about shifting, moving the needle even a little bit towards free speech and less from censorship, which really could be a game changer. And he just happens to be, we happen to be in this unique situation where the richest man in the world is a self-professed free speech absolutist. He's, on some issues, fairly to the left, actually, but on this issue, he is a free speech absolutist. And if he's able to move that needle, it could be a game changer. But he is going to be met, Cory, with opposition, the likes of which he probably hasn't contemplated. The entire system is really going to array against him. There's already talk of the DOJ potentially investigating him. They're going to come after Tesla, Starlink, everything else. So, is he going to be able to take the heat? Remains to be seen. But he seems like somebody who's up for the fight. But we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, well, judging by the reaction by all the leftist bots on there today, he's certainly caused a bit of a wave. Coach Agada, really love your insights. You stay out of those weeds, but keep observing politics very, very closely. Appreciate your time.